So an interesting question is, so now we're all into this and saying, well, to create a good supply chain, you need to actually look to the people and have technology too. So what you're discussing in the book is sort of the frameworks to judge and segment, if you like, the different players in the chain based on behaviors and based on characteristics. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, the big problem, and I think it's come about naturally, is that over the last 200 years since the Industrial Revolution, we've developed organisation structures that go for specialism and silos. And what we discovered in our early work going back 20 years is that all these functions have their different language. I mean, if you talk to marketing people, they talk about customers in funny ways, and they use terms like product portfolio and market differentiation. If you go to talk to HR people, you know, they'll talk about culture and values and beliefs. And what I discovered, and one thing that engineers are good at, is that they know that you can't compare apples, oranges, pears and bananas, that if you want to get alignment, you have to compare things in the same metric.
You have to systemize it.
Yeah, you can't compare yards with cubic meters and you know, those things. So one of the big discoveries we made was that along the supply chain, by coming up with a code, which I won't go into now, but it goes right back to Jungian psychology and so on. We found a coding method that allowed us to describe customers on the outside, culture on the inside, and leadership. And the only thing we didn't have, which was a thing called strategy that links the business with the marketplace. And so out of all this, we came up with this concept of alignment. And funnily enough, it wasn't a logistics concept or a supply chain concept, it was a business concept, because what we were saying is that businesses have to align with their customers. So we actually went right back to trying to
which sounds like a great novelty, but it's
it was a journey, and it's
still very few that do that.
Well, it was going back to sort of understand how the business works, and understanding that we were able then to come forward and say, now within the business, we have things called supply chains, which are like combinations of processes and pathways and relationships. And that's when we discovered, we made that other big leap, which was we'd been working up to then on this idea that there is a one-size-fits-all, and that you have a set-and-forget approach where you come up with a definitive supply chain with a set of processes, one type of technology, and that is it. But then we realised, as we looked out in the world and used behavioural techniques, that everywhere we went, didn't matter whether we were looking at petrol or insurance or buying holidays or anything, where any category of product or service where customers, consumers buy, we found patterns. And these patterns showed us that never in any case did we find any more than 3 to 4 dominant buying behaviours in any market for any category. There were more buying behaviours there, but never more than 3 to 4 dominant. And what that told us was that actually one size fits all doesn't work. We need to have 3 to 4 supply chains. And we discovered that by discovering what customers were telling us and reverse engineering back. And that's how we got the sort of multiple supply chain.
And we're going to talk in a minute about, you're categorizing buying behaviors and those frameworks, and we're talking about processes and how you categorize those and the place in those.
And you can link the two.
And you can link the two, and this is the whole point why you're here both, because this is where you start to overlap, if you may. Right. But an interesting thing is, so we're moving out of Taylorism. That's what we're saying. Into something new.
We are. We're moving into a sort of multidisciplinary world.
Yeah. In the knowledge society.
Yeah, knowledge and mixing and matching and coming up with recipes. I use these common words, recipes, where you take standard processes and components and technologies, and the secret sauce is actually mixing and matching them in different ways to come up with those different solutions that customers... The same product can be sold in 3 or 4 different ways.